Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. How many of us are waking up with a smile on our faces this morning? Brendan Rodgers had a jibe about the Celtic players saying that they were Honda Civic standard. Last night he said they're maybe not Ferrari, more a Range Rover Sport. And then he went on to say maybe hopes that we don't have any Morris Minor mishaps going forward. Very poetical, isn't he? And, you know, you can smile and laugh all we want about the result last night and the result in the other end of Glasgow. The important one was getting the win last night, and it was important for the players. But let's just hod the bus. Let's have a reality check. And I'm going to bring you back down to earth with a bump this morning, because it's not the Europa that's really the issue, is it? It's the low block in Scotland. When teams won't play like Sturm Graz played last night, teams in Scotland will play with 5, 6, 7 at the back. We know the issues. One little bright spark of an evening, and I've got to say, fair play to the fans. It's the first time that I've done a watch along, and I got excited right at the beginning. Right at the beginning of the match, you could hear the noise around the stadium, and I was like, oh my God, that's it. You just knew we were going to win. And yes, the first minute into the game, we'll lose Kelechi for a hamstring. How he managed to pull his hamstring, I've no idea, because the only ball that he did run for, he was that slow going to it up in the corner, and you're thinking, come on, Kels, Jesus, this is why we've not got any speed in the team. But then he was off within a minute later, wasn't he? It's unfortunate for him, but you've got to say, Johnny Kenny, whoa, if he starts scoring, I'm not going to make any crazy predictions. I did predict that Adam Ida would score 20 goals in a season, and he did. Johnny Kenny needs a run of games. With Kelechi being out, and Iacho being out, injured, could this just be the moment? Could this be his Liam Scales moment at Celtic? Liam Scales is turning into... there's a love-hate relationship with Scales. He pulls the shirt, he gives away silly fouls, he does things... But then he produces moments of magic and scores goals from it. Scales is at his best when he doesn't have to think and when he's reacting quick. One-touch pass. You know, when Liam Scales takes too long, when he's taking 4 or 5 touches, and it's the same with Cameron Carter-Vickers. When those players take too long, Celtic aren't at their best. But last night, Scales, one-touch pass, was phenomenal. Even Rio Hatate ended up having a good game, even though he passed back quite a lot. But it was all bonuses, and Brendan Rodgers spoke about it after the match. He said it's not a Ferrari. Celtic look as if they were heading for defeat when Kelechi went off, let's face it. And then when Alistair Johnson went off and it was 1-0 to them, everyone's thinking, it's not going to be our day, is it? And you're thinking, especially when Benji was missing so many, when Negrin was missing so many headers, you're thinking, it's just going to be one of those days. But it wasn't. That was fucking brilliant. Benji finally gets his goal. Liam Scales gets a header, and then you're thinking, that's it. Just go on and score more. If we'd score more, we could climb up the league slightly. But when you look at it, Brendan Rodgers spoke about the aggressiveness. He spoke about it being outstanding. Was it outstanding? It was a vastly improved. He said that sometimes, look, these are grown men. You have to sometimes use they're all car lovers, and sometimes you have to use a little bit of negativity towards them to get them just to bite back. And it worked. Despite the injuries and the replacements that happened, Celtic came from behind to win the game. Showing resilience, progress, and collectively they were together. The leadership mentality was there throughout the game. He challenged these players before it, he said, to show some leadership after the setback of the weekend. He believes that the response was perfect and that they handled the pressure brilliantly. There was a big fear within the fan base. You could feel it around the stadium. We got off to an exciting start, and you could feel it even coming through the telly. That the passion with the fans was there, and it was, it was. And then when they score, you're just thinking, and when players go off, but he did praise players. He praised Arnie Ingles, he praised Benji for keeping on going, keeping that resilience and just fighting, playing out of position, as we thought he was maybe playing out of position, because he's not good as a winger, let's face it. Colby Donovan tried to kick the ball up the the sideline many times expecting to find a winger there, and Benji was nowhere near it. He was in the midfield. But those are the things that the team will get used to and going forward. Arnie Ingles, world-class delivery. A lot of people have been slagging off Arnie Ingles, and I've said, look, his deliveries are actually better than Benji. He can drop it pinpoint in the 6-yard box with pace. And you see Arnie Ingles when Liam Scales scores. He's celebrating in that corner. Oh my days, man. It was absolutely brilliant to watch. Johnny Kenny, young Johnny Kenny and young Kobe Donovan gets praise from the manager for showing maturity. A lot of people thought we might have folded at that point and it was going to be a hard, long night ahead of us, but the two young lads come on and people will say, this is why other players should be playing. Look, Brendan Rodgers has got the squad that he's got, and I think that we did quite well. And it's a performance, let's face it. It is a performance that we've been looking for all season. It's the performance levels that we expect at Celtic. Can we keep it up going forward? When asked about the tempo, he says it's not quite a Ferrari, it's a Range Rover Sport tonight. And then he laughed. He says, but there's still improvement. And he did say, look, hold on, we're still not good enough. And he was very humble at that point, Brendan Rodgers, saying, look, it was a good victory, but we're still nowhere near where we want to be. And I think for me, that was a big positive when it comes to the players and it comes to everything that's going on around the club. I think that, do you know, we want the club to keep winning. We all want change on board level. No doubt about it. We all want the change at the board level. But we also want the team to continue playing fast attacking football, which they finally did last night. Brendan Rodgers said on his criticism, he says, look, it was meant to joke the players, not to publicly criticise them. Things are taken out of context in Scottish football, he says, up here. He says it's always taken out of context. But looking forward to Hearts. They also used last night as the press conference for the Hearts game this weekend. He says it gives Celtic momentum and confidence going into the top of the table clash. It's always a hard game at Hearts. It is always a hard game at Hearts. Derek McInnes and his management believe that Celtic are there for the taking. Brendan Rodgers said that Celtic will only get better. Do you know? It was vital, absolutely vital that we got the result last night. We could have scored 5 or 6. Do you know, we could have, people will say, well, they had 2 shots that, do you know, they could have scored more. But I think when you look at the chances that we had, Rio Hatate's chance, flying it over, Benji, the amount of headers it put wide, and I think he put the hardest one in the back of the net, hardest shot. When you look at Arnie Ingles and his header, and he's just lucky that the guy gets it with his knee. You know, he just gets it with his knee on the line. And that's what it is. It was a win. Do you know, not to get carried away with it. I think that Brendan Rodgers was right to say that. Do you know, grab back in the expectation of the Celtic fan base by letting them know that he still thinks that we're not good enough. One win doesn't make the season. Celtic power and the crowd. Do you know, Neil Lennon said during the game last night, the players need to do their bit to get the crowd up, and they certainly did that. When we got the equaliser and then we got the other goal, you could feel the atmosphere totally change at Celtic Park. There was a bit of nervousness going into the end of the game, but that's what's to be expected, and especially with the way that we've been playing recently. For me, it was an absolutely fantastic night, and it was good to watch Celtic again. I think a lot of us were feeling really negative. People were saying, let's just get just a sloppy 1-0 win. You know, play bad and just win the game. People were, the negativity all week that was heading towards this game, saying that if we lose this game and we lose the next game and then we lose the next game. And I said, look, could be the chance that we could actually win all these games. And then what happens? We're actually going in a good or better place heading in towards the next couple of months, heading towards the transfer window, which I expect the Celtic board to back the manager. Chat of the manager leaving is just a little bit tad early just now, I think. And on that note, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, especially you. Thanks. Because you've watched it right to the end, and that means you're an absolutely amazing person. Have a fantastic day, wherever you are, all around the world. Thank you for watching.